Some people think cemeteries exist as a gateway to the ethereal realm, a doorway binding two worlds together.
There's energy in these graveyards. I mean, you have a lot of the paranormal people come to these graveyards just for that energy.
So if death is just the next step as we cross over into the spirit world, then who are the gatekeepers that keep us from crossing back? So we're headed back to LJ, and obviously, like with paranormal stuff, I think cemeteries, graveyards, things like that come up a lot in the paranormal. A lot of people go there in search of spirits and ghosts, but we've heard stories about actual cryptids that have been spotted in cemeteries. We're going there today, see if we can learn a little more about that, and we're gonna meet up with Scott and Sheila Granger because, well, they're pretty much our experts on this. It wouldn't be LJ if it wasn't raining. Sure. All right, let's walk over here towards the graveyard here.
We met with Scott and Sheila back when we filmed the first episode, Hunting for Bigfoot. They own Squatch Fishing Outfitters, and what they do is they take hikers out into the most active Bigfoot zones for these overnight expeditions.
Yeah, so the idea for this episode is just sort of exploring the different cemeteries of LJ and where those stories take us.
You know, we have LJ, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville. And between those three places, there is tons of these old cemeteries.
And we don't want people to think, oh, they're out there disturbing the graveyards. No, that's not what we're doing. We're totally respectful. But it never fails. If we go in the evening or at night, we have activity. We were exploring that particular graveyard one day. When you get this feeling when you walk in the woods, like I said before, when you don't hear birds, crickets, nothing, everything just, stops. Well, a predator's around. So I just start taking pictures. So we're leaving and I'm going through and looking at the pictures. And there's a picture on there I couldn't believe. It's a huge outline. And you could see two red eyes and you could see the outline of two pointy ears. And he's kind of hunched forward looking at Scott.
This is when Scott and Sheila first introduced us to Dogman. Dogman is a cryptid described as a large upright canine, something between a wolf and a man. Eyewitnesses state they stand 6 to 8 feet tall, with pointed ears and glowing eyes. And for some reason, they're often seen around old graveyards. Do you have any, speculation? Why do people see Dogman in cemeteries?
Some of the theories are they're watchers over the grave sites. And you think about it, what's one of the one places that doesn't get visited a lot by people? Graveyard.
It's unique that, I thought they were just only in the Bigfoot sphere, but I guess there's a lot of overlap when it comes to cryptids and creatures like that.
There's just a lot that we don't know about the world. There have been estimates that the Appalachian Mountains are older than the rings of Saturn. You think about it, that's like a whole lot of history for an area to see.
I'd say that the universe is teeming with life. It's a lot bigger than people even imagine.
After we talked to Scott and Sheila, it felt like there was more to this story. So we decided to rent a cabin for the night, and we're gonna try to get in touch with the Sisterhood of Secrets.
They're local to this area and they have a podcast that really dives into the paranormal. We think they might have a little bit of information to really help us understand what Dogman is and how it ties into graveyards.
So this is base camp for the night.
Sweet. Looks good.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Luke.
Hi.
Brad.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Taylor.
Hey, Luke. Nice
Hi.
to meet you. Thank you guys for doing it.
Yeah, we're excited.
Apparently, a cemetery, there's supposed to be like an in-between between two worlds. Dogman really, to me, when I was doing our research, felt like a black dog or a hellhound. And they're notoriously spotted around cemeteries because they guard the consecrated grounds. So they are protecting the cemeteries and the graves from people that are like gonna harm things, you know, like violators and stuff like that. Or if you're just, or it can be a bad omen.
Do any research at all, you'll know Dogman. You can look at Egypt mythology on the rock carving walls. They got a Dogman, and I think his name's Anubis or whatever. There's a Dogman.
All of these sightings that I've heard from people, it's been like in the last couple of years. Sometimes people will see just a hunting breed dog wandering alone. Whenever they like try to call the dog to them or get closer, poof, gone.
I think we could totally have some beasties out here in the woods. This is a perfect place for it. There's not a story anywhere in the Appalachian Mountains that you're not gonna find a cryptid.
We knew we had to dive deeper and find out if Dogman had more connections to Gilmer County. That's when we found this Reddit post.
My encounter in the North Georgia mountains. This is a Reddit post.
The guy who made the original post said it was in western Gilmer County.
No way.
Yep.
The incident happened in late summer 2018. It was in the mountains of North Georgia. On the day it happened, I was surveying a piece of property bordering a large tract of national forest land. I had just walked back down the slope to get ready to traverse to the top of the ridge when I noticed someone, or something, hairy, wearing what I originally thought was a hat, slowly walking across the opening that I just made a few minutes earlier, and it stopped to look at me. It had a large hand reaching up to grab the tree limb it was next to, and as it stared down the hill right at me, I could make out pointed ears on top of its head and a long snout. Then I realized it was dead silent in the woods. And in Georgia, during the summertime, it's always extremely loud with insects. I walked to the top of the ridge to see what was going on and noticed disturbed vegetation leading in the direction I saw it walking. As I thought more about what was happening, I realized that the lower limb on the tree I saw it walk behind as it went out of sight was right at 6 feet tall. That's when it all set in, and I got scared. I could hear something moving in the short distance, so I decided to start making the 45 to 50 minute walk back to my truck. I could hear movement up on the ridge parallel and above me during my walk back. I didn't think it was necessarily moving in reaction to me, but I wasn't willing to wait around and find out. I made it to the truck, and since then I've only told 2 people about my experience. I would advise that if you work alone in the woods, please pay attention to your surroundings. I think a lot about what might have happened if I hadn't looked up when I did. People go missing all the time in the woods and are never seen again. I believe I know what takes some of them, as I've seen it. Whether you believe me or not is of no consequence to me, but it took me a long time to feel comfortable telling anyone about my experience. If it helps one person pay attention in the woods, I'm happy to be called crazy.
We came to LJ looking for answers, and maybe we found a few, but what we've really uncovered is just how much the paranormal weaves throughout all of our lives.
It's in the stories and pop culture we grew up with. But mostly it's in the experiences people are still having today.
Whenever we started this, in terms of actual cryptids, that's not something that's really ever been anything I've believed or been interested in. But after hearing these stories, I think that I'm more of a believer now than I was at the start.
I guess what gets me is the all these eyewitnesses, you know? Like, how can there be so many people
and there not be some truth to it, you know?
That's what's wild is like how many people, especially in this area, have had strange, paranormal, weird occurrences happen in their lives. And it's been neat having that opportunity to let them talk about it. Yeah.
But hearing these people give their stories, the similarities, the history behind it, I mean, it's kind of sparked, okay, you know, there's a little bit of credibility that I can kind of take out from this.
You know, this journey isn't just about discovering what's out there, but it's about discovering what's inside each of us.
A sense of wonder, curiosity, and a deeper respect for the unknown.
And one thing's for sure, I think this is just the beginning.